This is examples of music for Module 38. 38.1 says define the German augmented 6 chords for any key. 38.2 says correctly notate the resolution of German augmented 6 chords in any key. 38.3 says identify and label German augmented 6 chords within real music examples. Let's listen to this piece of music where a German augmented 6 chord is introduced right here in this measure. The German augmented 6 chord contains the same 3 notes that the Italian augmented 6 chord contains, plus 1 more. So we're looking for a lowered 6th scale degree, a raised 4th scale degree, the tonic of the key, and the additional note is the lowered 3rd scale degree, or may if we're using movable do solfege syllables. Also keep in mind, when I say the lowered 6th scale degree and the lowered 3rd scale degree, those particular scale degrees in our piece will only actually be lowered if we're in a major key. If we're in a minor key, the 6th scale degree is already the solfege syllable lay, and the 3rd scale degree is already the solfege syllable may. The terms lowered 6th and lowered 3rd are common even if you're talking about it in a minor key. Just keep in mind that that word lowered really means lowered as compared to the major mode. This piece is in the key of C major. So for the German augmented 6 chord that we're looking for the notes A flat is lowered 6th, F sharp is the raised 4th, C is the tonic, and then the note E flat is what we're looking for as may. This measure contains all of those. Here's the A flat lowered 6th, here's the F sharp raised 4th, here's the C tonic, and then right at the end, the E flat is introduced, giving us the German augmented 6 chord. I'm going to play from this measure. Please notice how that sounds. In this particular example, we have some other interesting things to point out harmonically. Let's look at the measure prior to the one that contains the German augmented 6th. Here we have the notes A flat, C, and E flat. This is a major triad built on the lowered 6th scale degree of the major key. This is an example of a borrowed chord or modal mixture. The measure following the German augmented 6 chord contains a cadential 6/4. We have a C, E, G chord in second inversion, moving to a G, B, D chord in root position. In both the first and second ending, we end up on the tonic chord. So our Roman numeral analysis would be as follows. This last line would be flat, capital VI for flat 6, then the German augmented 6th, which we could write with GR6. Then from this measure and this measure, we have the cadential 6/4, which is often written as a capital V, 6/4 going to 5/3, and then the 1 chord, capital I. Take note of this. The German augmented 6 chord and the flat 6 major chord contain almost the same notes. A flat, C, E flat. Over here, again, we have A flat, C, E flat, with the addition of the raised 4th F sharp. Because of this close relationship, the inclusion of the German augmented 6 chord is a good choice when moving from the borrowed chord built on the flat 6 of the major key to the dominant functioning chord. Let's listen to it again from here. In terms of voice leading, lowered 6th lay will move down to the 5th scale degree. The raised 4th Fi will move up to the 5th scale degree, as is done here. And Do and May will move in ways that will avoid parallel fifths. In this case, as we said, it moves to a cadential 6/4, and this is a very common thing for German augmented 6 chords to do in order to be able to avoid unwanted parallel motion. Here's another example by Beethoven. This section of this piece is in the key of B flat minor. Even though the key signature might indicate otherwise, a thorough look at the accidentals would lead us to the conclusion of B flat minor as our key. The German augmented 6th chord in B flat minor would have the 6th scale degree, G flat, the raised 4th scale degree, E natural, the tonic, B flat, and the 3rd scale degree, D flat. The first occurrence of that is in this measure right here. The 6th scale degree is the G flat. The raised 4th scale degree is the E natural, which appears earlier in the measure. The tonic is the B flat, and the 3rd scale degree is the D flat. Let's start from here and see how that sounds. The German augmented 6th chord is featured in the following measures as well, on this spot right here, as well as this right here, and these syncopated sections right here, here, and here. We're going to start in the same spot and listen for the German augmented 6th occurring here, 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 and here. The augmented 6th chords, including the German augmented 6th, are predominant chords, and each one of these is followed by a dominant functioning chord. The first occurrence right here is followed up immediately by a cadential 6/4. This is an example from a Haydn string quartet. This minuet starts out in the key of A major, but within the first 8 bars, it modulates to its dominant in cadences in that key. The appearance of the German augmented 6th chord in this measure helps solidify that modulation. The key to which we modulate is the dominant of A major, so we're moving to E major. The modulation happens through use of pivot chord on the measure preceding the German augmented 6th chord, this one. The pivot chord is an A major triad in first inversion, which would be a 1 in the original key, and a 4 in the new key of E major. We then have a C natural, which is the lowered 6 in E major, an A sharp, which is the raised 4th, the note E, which is the tonic, and then the lowered 3rd, May, which is the G natural. Our German augmented 6 then leads us to a cadential 6/4, which is E, G sharp, B in second inversion, moving to B, D sharp, F sharp, and then finally the 1 chord in the key of E major, E, G sharp, with the 5th B omitted. Let's start from right here and notice the German augmented 6th in this measure. Now let's start from the beginning again and see if you can notice the use of pivot chord from the 1 chord of A major to the 4 chord of E major, moving to the German augmented 6th chord, then the cadential 6/4, and then the 1 chord in E major. This piece is in the key of G major. This piece is in the key of G major. A German augmented 6th chord would be spelled with the lowered 6th E flat, the raised 4th C sharp, the tonic G, and the lowered 3rd B flat. In this segment, that occurs in this measure: E flat, C sharp, G, and B flat. It is followed by the dominant in D major, D, F sharp, and A. We then see the German augmented 6 appear again in these two measures. I'm going to start the music up here and listen for the German augmented 6 that occur in this measure, in these two measures. In these two measures, something else is also happening musically. It's about to modulate up a half step from the key of G major to the key of A flat major. These are considered one chords. One of the characteristics of a German augmented 6 chord is that it is enharmonic to that of a major minor 7th chord. It's enharmonic to a dominant 7th of a different key. You may have noticed that the sound of these two measures is the same as the sound of this measure, but there are actually different notes notated. In this case, there's a C sharp. In this case, there's a D flat. The traditional spelling of a German augmented 6 chord would be the C sharp. Over here we see the D flat written though. So it's the same sound, and this is actually giving us a pivot chord of the German augmented 6 and its enharmonic equivalent, the E flat major minor 7th chord. E flat, G, B flat, D flat. That sets up our modulation using the E flat 7th chord as the dominant of A flat major. We'll start from here one more time. 38.4 says define and build French augmented 6 chords for any key. 38.5 says correctly notate the resolution of a French augmented 6 chords. And 38.6 says identify and label French augmented 6 chords within real music examples. This is the opening of the Beethoven Third Symphony. Let's skip ahead to this section right here. By this point in the work, we are now in the key of B flat major. A French augmented 6 chord contains the same 3 pitches of the Italian augmented 6 chord plus one more pitch. So those first 3 pitches are the lowered 6th scale degree, lay, the raised 4th scale degree, fi, and the tonic pitch, do. The other additional pitch is now the 2nd scale degree of the key, re. In the key of B flat major, the lowered 6th would be a G flat, the raised 4th would be an E natural, the tonic would be B flat, and the 2nd scale degree re would be C. This is the full score, so I'm not showing all the instruments at once, but let me scroll down so you can see through. We do have some transposing instruments to keep in mind. If you're analyzing these pitches that you see, keep in mind that this line is clarinet in B flat. All these notes would need to be transposed down a major second to know what note is sounding. These 3 staves are in the key of E flat. You would have to think of these pitches as either up a minor 3rd or down a major 6th to determine which note is sounding. All these string instruments are considered non-transposing, so the note that we see is the note that we hear. So in the key of B flat, we do see the G flat present as the lowered 6th. We see the E natural present as the raised 4th. We see the note B flat present throughout as the tonic pitch. And we also see the 2nd scale degree of B flat, C, giving us all the elements of a French augmented 6 chord. We'll start right here. Listen to the sound of the French augmented 6 chord in this measure, and then it resolves to the dominant with the raised 4th going up by step, the lowered 6th going down by step, both to the 5th scale degree F of the key B flat. Do that again. And just for fun, this Notezilla software gives us the ability to slow down the speed of the music. Let's listen to this piece by Beethoven. This piece is in the key of D major. The lowered sixth in D major would be B flat. The raised fourth in D major is a G sharp. The tonic in D major is D, and the second scale degree would be an E natural. All those elements are created for a French augmented sixth chord in this particular measure. The lowered sixth, B flat, the raised fourth, G sharp, the tonic, D, and the second scale degree, E natural. This chord is followed by the dominant, A, C sharp, E, and for the most part, it follows our correct voice leading rules. I'll start the music in this measure up here, and notice how the French augmented sixth chord sounds in this measure. Here is a work by Schumann. It contains a French augmented sixth chord. That chord takes place right here. We're in the key of F minor. So in the key of F minor, the sixth scale degree is D flat. The raised fourth scale degree is B natural. The tonic is F. And the second scale degree is G. And that's what we have here. Notice we're in treble clef in both hands. We have the sixth scale degree D flat. We have the raised fourth scale degree B natural. We have the tonic scale degree F, and we have the second scale degree G. The raised fourth is going up to the fifth, the sixth scale degree is going down to the fifth, and if we analyze this chord to this chord, we'd find that it is a cadential 6/4. Let's listen through, noticing the French augmented sixth chord here. The music goes by pretty quickly. And let's listen to that one more time. This is from the same song, Carnival of the Animals. Let's listen to it once and then we'll talk about it. This is in the key of A minor, and it does contain a French augmented sixth chord. In A minor, the French augmented sixth chord would be made up of the sixth scale degree F, of the raised fourth scale degree D sharp, of the tonic A, and of the second scale degree B. And we see that here on every other pitch on beats 2 and beat 4. We see F, the sixth scale degree, we see D sharp, the raised fourth scale degree, we see A, the tonic pitch, and we see B, the second scale degree. Preceding and following the French augmented sixth chord, we have an A minor chord as well as an A minor chord. So this would be a minor 1 Roman numeral, the French augmented sixth symbol, then minor 1 Roman numeral. While the augmented sixth chords are usually predominant chords, since this one is not followed by a dominant and it's sandwiched in between two 1 chords, we would say this entire measure here has a tonic function. So let's hear the alternating 1 French augmented sixth, 1 French augmented sixth. In the next measure, we have another 1 chord, and then followed by the 4 chord of D, F, A in second inversion.